up again. I would never physically challenge my father again. The realization that she could not overcome him drove my mother to seek another method of rebellion in the shape of my father, Alan. He was a hard man in a city of hard men. He was not tall, but lightning fast, vicious, relentless, and, even in his early years, willing to resort to any weapon that was at hand. He was also a man with plans to escape the grinding poverty of Glasgow for the lush pastures of England, which suited my mother admirably. Alan also saw himself as a reincarnation of Al Capone. In his mind, he would build a criminal empire in England with his brothers Henry, Wally and John, who were cut from the same cloth, unstable, immoral, and extremely violent. Around them they would eventually gather others with similar talents. My mother became pregnant, then married my father. She was 16. 6 months later, in early January 1953, I was born. According to my mother, just after my birth I contracted a serious illness. The local doctor was called, but told my parents that there was nothing to worry about. My mother was not convinced, and my father decided to take me to hospital, where they diagnosed scarlet fever. The hospital doctor told him that had I not been admitted that night, I would almost certainly have died. His reaction was typically simple and brutal. He went to the local doctor's surgery the next day and hospitalised him. We lived in Lime Hill Road in the Gorbals. My earliest memory of my father is from when I was 4. A bus route passed directly in front of our tenement block, and one day the door burst open and my mother rushed past me, a giant in the uniform of a bus conductor some way behind her. He was shouting, "Send out your man!" Alan walked purposefully down the small garden path outside our front door. He must have been at least a foot smaller and a stone lighter than his challenger, but my father was an expert. He never wasted words. Talking to somebody you were going to do was a waste of energy and simply put them on guard. The conductor was still shouting threats when my father jumped up and headbutted him. Blood exploded over the man's face as he began to fall. My father grabbed hold of his lapels and pulled him onto 2 more savage headbutts as he slid to the floor. My father lived by the maxim, if you put a man down, make sure he stays down. He began to kick the man rapidly in the face and body. Then he slowed and walked round his crawling victim to deliver well-aimed kicks to the kidneys and groin. The bus conductor tried to scramble out of the garden towards his waiting bus. My father followed him, still kicking, even as the man screamed for mercy and help. He got neither. The driver and passengers watched in silence as he was kicked back onto the bus. Only then did they reboard it. My father rang the bell. With the bus gone, he looked left and right, challenge in his eyes. Our neighbours simply shrugged. The bus conductor had insulted my mother and taken on my father. In their brutal world, it had been a fair fight. My father walked back to where I stood in the corridor, a smile of satisfaction on his face, ruffling my hair as he passed. Mum cleaned up the blood on the pavement. My father was often absent, but I was too young to realise this was due to his frequent periods of incarceration. At first, his were crimes of violence, but theft and robbery would soon follow. Although he saw himself as a master criminal, his first attempt at theft was farcical. He had been working in the shipyard and was stealing lead, which he smuggled out down the sides of his boots to avoid snap inspections by security guards at the dock gate. He stole a small amount each day and sold the lot at the end of the week to a scrap merchant. His greed and daring increased. One night he filled his boots with several pounds of lead, but as he walked towards the main gate he found it increasingly difficult to lift his feet. He struggled towards the gate like a deep-sea diver, dragging each foot forward inch by inch. Passing workmen stopped to watch.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.